Heather Powell and Eden Shue are here, and they're going to be talking about the Twin Lakes Literacy Council. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you were just telling me, and I got a horrible memory sometimes, and I forget people. It's just a fault I've got. But you were telling me that you were here last year, and you and Eden were here.
We were here about a year ago, maybe a little over a year. Eden was with me, and another student of mine who's moved now, Sister Anna.
Okay.
So, but we are here to talk about our budding ESL program, English as a Second Language.
Okay.
The Twin Lakes Literacy Council is a not-for-profit group, and we teach reading, we teach math, we teach computer literacy, and we also teach English as a second language. And this is a growing need in this area. We have many people moving here from all over the world. We have many people who have married people, maybe service members, maybe business people they've met overseas, and then these people come to the Twin Lakes area and
They need
retire
to be integrated.
or live.
They need to be integrated,
That's
and without
right.
a good grasp of the language, they're not going to do well, right?
That's right. So I'm hoping that maybe we'll reach a few of these people in the community who may not be able to read our flyers, but can definitely see us and hear about us on the show.
Yeah. And there's a difference between learning the language and writing the language. You can learn the
Sure.
language, but you have to, at some point, need to know how to read and write, right?
This young lady has done it all. In a year and a half, she has managed to learn enough of the language to complete a full year at ASU in her quest for a degree in psychology.
Wow.
And
Now,
she's going to help me in tutoring some new students starting Monday.
So you're becoming a tutor.
Yeah. Well, I try my best.
Is that a reluctant yes? Yeah.
She's very humble.
So in a year, you started out with very little English at all?
Well, I think my English is not very good, but some basic stuff. I only have some basic stuff, really.
Well,
I
when
think
you
she had a very good framework, but she has polished it quite well in a year and a half.
What was the hardest thing about learning a different language, learning English?
The hardest thing, okay. For now, I think the most hard thing for me is the pronunciation.
Pronunciation, yeah.
Yeah. You see, still now, I think some people cannot understand me very well because my accent, you know.
I would think that slangs would have a hard time understanding. You know what I'm talking about when I say slangs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So have you been in a conversation and somebody threw a slang in there and you just don't know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I will say with idioms and with slang and vernacular, I think the younger generation picks that up
Pick it
quicker.
up easier, yeah.
Because it's more prevalent in the generation.
Was there a time in the beginning you were frustrated?
Yes.
I would think I'd be. Well, that's with everything,
That was
though.
very clear.
Yeah. That was a pretty good yes. Yes, very much.
Okay.
What was the? I mean, you just get so frustrated because you can't pronounce a word right, or you can't understand a word right, or.
Well, sometimes both. Yeah. Sometimes if I cannot understand other people very well, I will talk very hard to understand. Also, it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mix all the words and the grammar, so it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Just like now.
Just like now.
Yeah.
I can understand you. It's fine. I mean, we
Well, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Amazed that in just a little over a year, you said,
1 year and a half.
and you were able to complete a year at ASU. That's amazing to me. I think your English is very good.
Well, thank you very
Do
much.
you when you're in class and the teacher or the instructor starts talking fast or something like that? Does that kind of throw you for a loop too? I mean, do you have to go up afterwards and say, "Could you explain this or that?" Or
Yeah, I do. So I recorded the record.
oh, you recorded? Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
That's a great way to learn too.
Yeah, especially some professors, they do not like to make the notes. They just read the read what they
Yeah.
want to tell you, and you have to write very fast. I cannot do that, so I record it.
yeah, I would understand. So you have to work twice as hard.
Well,
So
actually,
you try to you try to assimilate or try to understand, and then you got to record it. And then you have to go back and take notes from that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that would be frustrating.
Yes.
So what's next for Eden? What's her? She's going to be a tutor, and who's she going to tutor?
We have some new students coming in, and she and I are going to work together tutoring.
So they don't have to be Oriental or
No,
you
they
just,
don't.
Just need to teach them an English language, right?
That's right.
Okay.
What is your native language?
Chinese.
Chinese. Were you living somewhere else in the United States before you came to Mountain Home,
No.
or was this your first stop?
Yeah.
I cannot imagine going to a country and having to learn a new language and going to college at the same time. That's remarkable to me. Bravo.
Thank you very much.
Can you read English? Do you
yeah.
feel like better than you write it or speak it, or is it all about the same?
All about the same.
About the
actually.
same? So like your textbooks in school?
Sometimes she asks me to read over things that she has written to make sure that she's getting her point across. And in one of her essays this past semester, she's quoting Francis Bacon. And I said, most Americans don't remember any Francis Bacon that they read. We all had to read some at some point, but most of us don't remember it. And she tells me she read quite a bit in Chinese as well.
Oh yeah.
I read it in Chinese first, then I can understand it in English better.
Interesting. So what is the council doing now? Are they looking for more tutors, volunteers?
We are everything. We are looking
Okay.
for volunteers. We are looking for students because we're here to help students, to help people who need the help. And it's not just English as a second language. We teach people to read. We work with some children and predominantly adults. We teach people math skills. We do some life skills. If you need help counting money, learning those skills that we take for granted every day. And we teach basic computer classes.
I was going to say that most everything now. We were just talking before the show that I've got a smartphone and I use it as an alarm clock. I use it to record.
They run our lives now.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So
It is.
for people, and we're talking about English. There's some people that have born and raised here that still have a hard time reading or
maybe they
balance a
have
checkbook or whatever. So
disabilities such as dyslexia or other learning disabilities. And we have programs in place that have been proven for a number of students to be very helpful.
now, is this a one-on-one tutoring, or is it in a
Yes.
classroom situation?
My English as second language, I do teach classes through the school year,
Yeah.
but I tutor as well. Most everything else is tutored one-on-one.
Okay. Well, that's a plus for people out there that have a problem with being embarrassed about their learning disability.
There is plenty of discretion. I have not yet met anyone who, if you're willing enough to come in and learn, it's amazing how far you can go. My reading students, the reading is becoming less cumbersome, not as much work. It's easier.
Now, this is a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
And is there fees for any of the
We
classes?
have no fees. You have to get yourself to class and get home on your own, but the classes themselves are free.
And where are the classes?
We're on Bradley Drive. Anyone who knows where you go to take your driver's license test, we are in that same strip.
Okay.
But we do, if needed, and if we can match you with the right tutor, we have worked at the library with students before. We have worked in some churches, open their doors and let us use some of their public space to work.
Well, if you're interested, Eden's going to be a tutor, and maybe you'll be her student. How is that going to be? Is that going to be okay with you?
I hope we're okay for them. I do not want to confuse them.
I think you'll be fine.
Well, I know that
Yeah.
she also is teaching private Chinese lessons.
Or just for help, friends. He wants
Yeah.
to go China and want to learn some Chinese.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's a complicated language too, is what I'm told. I have no idea.
It's
how to-
very
how to
different than
speak it.
English.
Yeah, I'm sure it very is.
Is it true that English is the hardest language? I remember hearing that growing up, that English is the hardest language.
I think
I
so.
can't imagine that.
I've
Well, I
learned
believe that.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I strongly believe that.
I've learned 7 languages, and English is by far the hardest.
Really?
We have
what do
more,
you think that-
more
more-
exceptions than rules.
And more descriptions, more words that you can use
Oh,
in
different
place
ways.
of.
No,
No, not really.
Russian I think is much more descriptive.
Oh,
They have
really?
words for everything, but it's very poetic, very lyrical. English, we have accepted so many words from so many other languages into our language that the spelling rules, the pronunciation
yeah.
rules, throw them out the window.
Sure,
they really
yeah.
don't exist. It's just becoming pure memorization.
What advice would you give somebody that wants to learn English as a second language?
Well, just don't afraid and do not very hurry, because it cannot start just at one day. Is my grammar right? Well, however, take time as well, getting better and better.
Patience.
Patience. Oh yeah, thank you. Thanks for the words.
That's what she said.
That's what I
Well,
said.
we appreciate you being here,
Thank you for having
and
us.
looking for new tutors and students. Anything that involves the Literacy Council, they would accept you there. And if you are having trouble with learning disability or would like to learn to read or write, they'll be helping you there. And for more information, just call the number that was on the screen, or there's some more information at the end of the show where you can contact the Twin Lakes Literacy Council. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Up next, we're going to be talking with Sandra Artos and Melanie Ward from the CASA Golf Tournament. Stay with us.